It's just running a new civilization event. And it's basically 1984 plus Purge plus Hunger Games. 3 districts led by 3 of the most prolific dictators we've ever seen in any of his events. It's Spood of Westhelm, Solev of, I think it was like a snow empire or whatever in like one of his earlier events, and Alanulo of Aculon. 3 of the biggest like dictatorships, I guess the 3 biggest dictatorships outside of like maybe Infernus, except not really because I'm pretty sure they had subordinate leaders as well, are leading 1,000 players in 3 different districts. I think it's desert, tropical plains, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to check. But I'm not gonna lie, this government kind of cringe. I'm not even gonna look at me in my eyes. I don't like this government very much. So naturally, I was planning to do something about it, but I got rejected. So if anyone, if anyone hasn't gotten rejected yet and wants to, help out with overthrowing the government, this is the place for you. Even if you haven't gotten accepted or you got rejected, still stick around, and maybe if you know someone or like you can find someone who might be interested in overthrowing the government, then that'd be very helpful. Anyways, here's my detailed plan of how to overthrow the government in Minecraft. I actually have 2 plans to overthrow the government. One if you're a government worker and the other one if you're a civilian. I'll start with the government one. There are 300 government workers, and this is the plan to, if you want to infiltrate the government and overthrow it. So if you are a government worker, here's the plan. As you know, 3 leaders, 3 of the biggest dictators of all time. But I'm not going to lie, also 3 of the biggest egos of all time. These 3 are very narcissistic, very controlling. They all want to have power, right? So if you are a government worker and you want to overthrow it and you want to play passive because you don't want to die and you want to play in the event, you might have to gamble on the fact that they're going to start having infighting, and then, they start like killing each other or something. However, I don't think that's very likely because they're controlling different parts of stuff. Like, I think Spood's vice president, Solev is actual president, and Yolanulo something else. So I don't know how much their interests are going to collide that much. So instead, if you're a government worker, I think the best course of action is to gain the trust of one of the leaders. Not all of them, just one, okay? And the reason you want to take control of just one, or not take control, you want to get friendly with just one of them, is because eventually, no matter how small a disagreement, it's going to happen. Like, I don't think they're going to have a full-blown civil war, but they're going to disagree about something eventually. And I think it's going to happen earlier than you expect, so you have to be ready, okay? So, you pick one. Now, I'm not going to lie, you have to be really careful with your selection. Whatever you do, I don't think you should pick Alanulo. The reason is he does not have a good history with keeping his subordinate leaders alive. Like, he killed a freaking turkey for basically no reason. Well, I guess, okay, a freaking turkey, he killed him because he wanted freedom in his country. And that's kind of what we're fighting for. So if he has any suspicions that you are trying to overthrow the government, you're probably cooked, not gonna lie. So instead, I would probably go with Spood, maybe Solev. The reason I say Spood's probably the best option, like I think go Spood, Solev, Alanulo. Like if you have no other choice and you have to go with Alanulo, I guess it's better than nothing, but it's still not great. The reason I say Spood's the best option is because I feel like out of all the dictators, he is the least. I don't want to say insane, but he wasn't an actual terrible leader. It's like Alanulo is unstable, right? He got his country taken over because he killed someone that was very well liked, for throughout the whole world, and then literally every country decided to invade him. Spood did not do that, right? Spood could work with other leaders. I feel like he's the least insane. He might put on this persona like he's a crazy dictator, but I don't think he really is. So if you can lock in with Spood, then that's the best option, easily. So I guess the best way would be like a bodyguard or whatever for Spood, or be like subordinate leader or whatever. Just make a good impression with him. Make sure he can trust you, right? Trust is going to be the most important part of this plan. So once he trusts you, you need to wait. You need to be patient until there is an internal conflict within the government. Once there's an internal conflict inside the government, you need to capitalize on this and try and murder one of the other leaders. Like, I know it sounds crazy. In the trailer, they're literally fitted up in full netherite. They're not going to be easy. I've never said they'd be easy to kill. Oh, crap. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be running dungeons while being distracted. So once you have gained control, or not, once you have gained the trust of hopefully Spood, then what you need to do is start lying. You need to tell Spood. You can start lying, or you could try and murder one of the other leaders. However, if you try and murder one of the other leaders and you fail, you're cooked, and this plan is like completely screwed. So the safer option would easily to be lying and saying that like one of the other people are trying to like overthrow him, get rid of him, consolidate more power for themselves. Because if like you need to do this while there's an internal conflict though, or else like you're like no one's gonna believe you, and you're gonna get sussed at and you're gonna die. But once there is a big internal conflict, which there definitely will be, I don't think there is a universe where they don't argue at least once. I would say pin it on Alanulo because he has a history of doing really stupid stuff with his like other allies, subordinate leaders, all that. Not a good reputation there. So I would pin it on him, and then oh my god, I'm a bot. So I would pin it on okay, bro. I would pin it on Alanulo, and then probably I would pin it on Alanulo, say that he's gonna like try and murder him or whatever, and then hopefully Spood will take that to heart, and like there'll be some infighting. Now, if this results in only Alanulo being killed, that's good, but it's not great. It's good because that's like a high-ranking official. Obviously, you want to get rid of them, as many of them as you can. But it's also a problem because that just gave two other dictators more power. So ideally, like, there's a period of peace within the country after hopefully Alanulo is like fallen from grace or whatever. Oh my god, I'm actually about. So hopefully there's a period of peace. Hopefully this makes Spood trust you more. Because the more he trusts you, the more he'll listen to you, right? You need to be in his ear at all times. You need to be reporting civilians that actually are planning revolutions. Because the more stuff you get right, the more he'll believe you when you're lying. Then you need to find a way to get Solev out. Because you cannot leave any dictators alive, right? If you're gonna do this plan, you're gonna have to aim for all of them, right? And that's why you need a specific set of like I don't want to say lack of empathy, but lack of empathy. Because if you start to like Spood and like you want him to live, the whole plan's cooked. You need to have like no emotional attachment towards any of these leaders at all, right? They're lying to your face. They're only in pursuit of power. They don't actually like you. All right. You need to get rid of all three of them, or none of them, and you just live in this evil dictatorship that's going to control every aspect of your life. Oh my god, I thought I double jumped onto the next floor. So you need to find a way to get Solev out. I feel like assassinating 2 leaders is easier than assassinating all 3 of them. Ideally, they like in the trailer, they are all standing on top of a um they're all standing on top of a ledge. So hopefully they actually do that in the real event, so you can like push them off or some. But they're also wearing full netherite in the event, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have like feather falling in prot 4 or whatever, and it's just hard to kill them. So you'll have to ideally also get Solev out by telling some other high-ranking official, or you're working with another guy in the government who's very suspiciously good at PvP, and he can take him out. Because I'm assuming the government people are going to have gear, because it'd be really dumb to leave them naked. So maybe if you guys got, like, I don't know, full diamond and you just have a homie that's a PvP god, or maybe you are a PvP god, then you can just assassinate him. I feel like it won't be that hard to assassinate him, because it's very easy to kill people if you have the jump on them. However, if they're, like, fully bodyguarded up at all time, you're going to have to pull off some charisma and tell them that, like, you're going to get betrayed, you're going to die. Once there is hopefully 1 leader left, and this is like, I feel like the government official thing is harder, but it's also easier to, it's like easier to start, harder to finish, because I feel like it'd be easier to get connected to a world leader and then betray them instead of, like, because you're going to have some crazy charisma to be able to have, like, one of the leaders betrayed. Like, think that one of the leaders are betraying each other. Of course, if one of the leaders actually try to betray the other one, then, you know, define hype. We're getting turned. That'd be great. But, not very likely. I'm not going to lie. They probably want to keep power and not do anything stupid. But if they're a little too power hungry and they want to keep all the power for themselves, we'll see, alright? But you need to find a way to get rid of 2 leaders, because you can't just have 1. Maybe, and this is a strong, like, 0.001% chance this actually happens, if one of the leaders wants the people to be free, then maybe they would. But what the frick? That just disappeared before I even got on it. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the leaders are going to be very, very, like, tight-knitted and, like, locked in with each other. So you're going to have to, like, really be homies with the one that you choose to make betray the other people. If by some miracle you have 1 leader left, actually, matter of fact, even if you have 2 leaders left, what you need to be doing is, there will definitely be civilians that try and have a revolution. It's just what they do. You've seen it through every single civilization event that's ever happened. There's been some kind of a revolution or assassination. Now they're all in one nation, so it's definitely going to happen. And this is where the 1984 quote comes in. If there is hope, it belongs in the pros, because you are going to need the civilians to try and help you overthrow the government. Now, you definitely can help gear them up. I feel like that'd be a very easy thing to do. So, yeah, definitely try and gear up a revolution. If you get caught, you are dead, which is unfortunate, and all the revolutionaries are dead. So you have to be very, very careful of what you do. But I feel, oh my god, that was such an L play. But I do think that it is possible for you to gear up a revolution. Maybe if you, like, have homies that you actually, like, trust with your life, they can help you out too. They can help you out to gear up the civilians for a revolution. I don't know how much natural resources, like iron or diamonds or whatever, the civilians are actually going to have. We'll see, I guess. It depends. If they get diamonds, they can probably do it. But the problem is, it's gonna be around 1,000 civilians. My guesses are probably around 800 by the time this this is probably like what, day 5 or whatever. By day 5, hopefully the civilians are geared. They have said on multiple occasions though that if there are plots to overthrow the government, you will die. So you're gonna have to be careful with this one. You're gonna have to, like, be so very secretive. It's like if you can, not only should you be a bodyguard to one of the like head honchos, you should also be a building inspector because then that's like the easiest way to get close to the civilians. That building inspectors were going to check civilians to make sure their buildings were up to government standard. So if you could do that and get close to civilians, and you know happen to eavesdrop that one of them's trying to overthrow the government. Hey, look at that! You just found your ticket to causing a revolution. Pretty hype, not gonna lie. Did I just fall through 2 floors? Maybe not. Pretty hype, not gonna lie. So if you can, then do that. It's gonna be hard to find one though, because you are a government official. They do not trust you. They probably want you dead. So take it at what you will. If you have a friend that's also a civilian, there you go. You got a link. If you don't, try and make one. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to need to find a way. So once you get rid of one world leader, and the reason I think you need to get rid of one world leader is it'll make the leaders way more paranoid, which we need that because then they'll start killing government officials, which will make it easier to overthrow the government because there'll just be less government people to fight. Now, this plan is like very like you have to execute this perfectly because if you do a little mistake, like I don't know, you try and ally with a government official to overthrow the government and they're actually a loyalist, you're getting sold out and you're dead. You can't find a civilian that wants to overthrow the government, then it's probably cooked unless you start a revolution yourself. Like you'd have to sacrifice yourself, give a speech to the world that's like, hey, overthrow this government, they suck. Don't know how well that's going to work. They'll probably end up censoring your ass. Not going to lie, don't know how they do that. It's Minecraft, but they'll probably find a way. Propaganda or whatever. This plan also falls apart if you can't get closer to one of the world leaders. That's a very important step. You absolutely need to do that because you need to get rid of one of them. If the government's at full strength, I don't have faith in the civilians to overthrow them because they're going to be outgeared. Right? The strength lies within numbers, all right? We need the numbers or it's cooked. It's cooked. As simple as that. You need the numbers advantage for the civilians, which would also mean that every single civilian would have to fight against the government. I'm not going to lie. I don't feel like that'd be hard to do. I feel like 700 out of 1,000 people probably want to not probably want to overthrow the government, but wouldn't be opposed to like having a free civilization. So yeah, this plan's very finicky. It needs to be executed absolutely perfectly. I feel like I don't want to say easier one, but probably easier one is the civilian route. If you somehow get in as a civilian, which I say somehow because there's like 40,000 people that applied to be a civilian, which is a lot, then what you need to do to overthrow the government is get out as fast as you can. Leave. There's like a wall of the there's a wall of like that surrounds all the districts or whatever. You need to breach through that wall. Now, is there going to be bedrock in that wall? I sure hope not, but it looks like it's just stone. Now, the easiest way to do this is do it while like the guards are distracted or something. Maybe someone in another district tries to overthrow the government and that's your ticket out. So if you can hit that, then do it, obviously. But if you can't, you're just going to try and have to hope that the government's stretched thin. I mean, there's only 300 of them. A lot of those people that are going to be defending the Capitol, not a lot of people are going to be manning the walls, all right? It's a very, very large map from what I can tell. Not all the government officials are going to be able to cover every wall. But you need to escape with a group, too, because this has to be, like, in numbers. If you can get a group of, like, 30 or something, then that's good. What you need to do is leave, right? Now, you're probably, and I said probably, you are going to be hunted down by the government. You are going to be trying to be killed. You have to be wary. You have to be secretive. Build your base underground. Do not build anything overground. Don't even mess with the above ground at all. You need to go underground. You need to hide, all right? You need to make sure there's no evidence of where you are at all. Don't even chop down any trees. Find your wood from, like, mine shafts or something. Can't risk it. There's definitely going to be a sweat on the government. It's like, well, actually, there's supposed to be a tree here. I checked the seed. And then you're cooked. You're chopped because, I mean, They know. They know that you've been there. They're gonna hunt you down. Would I be surprised if you get like glowing effect if you go out the wall? Probably not. Would I be surprised if all the civilians had glowing effect anyway? Not really. So you need to be careful with that as well. But once you escape, you need to start your underground civilization. You need to get absolutely looted. I'm talking full enchanted diamonds, all of it, every single tool. Why I did not mean to double jump there. Every single tool, all the armor, all the stuff, alright? All the swag. And then you need to go back. You need to also, if you can get a bunch of TNT, that'd be great because you're gonna blow up the wall. Again, if there's bedrock or obsidian in that wall, it's gonna be a little bit rough, but you can make like a giant hole or whatever too. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how much they're gonna gear up the government officials because if they gear them up with like full looted out diamond armor, then the government section of this video is gonna be way easier to pull off. But if the civilian group can get out and can get geared, they can come back. They can probably kill a lot of government guys. They can get more civilians out that want to get out. If the civilians are brainwashed to the point where they don't want to leave, that's really bad. But then, I'm not going to lie, one of your group members are going to have to make a sacrificial speech that are like, this government sucks, come join us, and then they'll probably get killed, and then it's be like, oh my god, he sacrificed himself for the greater good, and then people will start to like him. That's the hope. Once you, like, break out, like, a whole section or whatever, and, like, you got a actual, like, hundreds of players even, then you're gonna go to war. You're gonna go to war. You're gonna fight the government, and you should win because there's no way every single government official survives. So it's gonna be less than 300 by the time this is projected to be like day 6 or whatever. Then I think they'll only like maybe 200 max government officials are still gonna be alive. If you cannot break out of the wall. It's bedrock. It's hard to break out. You're going to have to build over it. Not going to be good. Because, like, the wall is not, like, 100 blocks thick. It's, like, 6 at most, from what I can tell from the video. It's not going to be that hard to mine through. But if it's, like, obsidian, bedrock, and you actually have to go over the wall, it's cooked. You cannot go over the wall. You're going to get caught. They're going to see you. They're probably going to have, like, towers armed with like maxed out bows and you're just gonna get 2-tapped. I'm assuming like at most you get iron like natural resources from the districts itself. So it's gonna be a little difficult. Obviously if you can't go through it and you can't go over it, try and go under it. But if it's like bedrock to bedrock and it's like actually a box, then you're kinda fried. I don't think that'll happen, but it might be. This also happens if if there's a world border like around the map, then that's fried. That's really bad. But the next plan is to kill a government official and loot his dead body. That's the next plan. If you can't, that's very hard to do. A lot of people will probably die trying to do it, and you might not even get successful, so you might die in the process. It's going to be rough. But you have to do it. It's like, you gotta lock in on that. Aw, frick. Aw, frick. If you can't get geared up, like, at all, you never see a government civilian their whole playthrough, you're gonna have to fake snitch on someone. You're gonna have to say, hey, that guy's trying to overthrow the government. You're gonna have to gain the trust of the government officials. You're gonna even have to say, like, yeah, I applied to be a government official, but I never just got in. So I'm just gonna be a loyalist to the government because I was planning on doing it anyway. That'd be good, right? So if you gain their trust, and then it's like, you could say, hey, this high-ranking government official pulled up one day and asked if I want to overthrow the government. That's kind of cringe because I definitely don't. That's good too. I don't know how much the government officials are going to be like trustworthy of citizens. Probably not a lot. So this is like your last resort option if you can't escape or get looted. So yeah. Anyway, that's my plan to overthrow the government. Obviously, it's very situational. I wouldn't know because I'm not in the event, so I can't tell you everything. But that's like the framework. You can't see me right now. I'm in a black beam. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how this is happening. This is kind of cringe, not going to lie. But yeah, if you want to overthrow the government or you know someone who wants to overthrow the government, go crazy in Minecraft, not in real life. Okay, bye-bye.